There's an interesting thing sort of linking that up and thinking about future warfare, which is future combat going to be more about people, or is it going to be more about states? And that breaks up further, which is when you get into big state-on-state conflict, we start seeing a lot of air power and sea power coming in. And for those types of technologies, those big technologies and platforms, people equip the weapon. Whereas when you talk about the type of conflict that Pat is expert in, technology supports the human. And so these are very different ways of thinking about things. There's still technology in both, and we're going to have to figure out how we support both of those, because we're going to have to prepare for both of those contingencies. And what's likely to occur is we make all these big dollar investments for the state-on-state stuff, and then we deploy guys in the middle to sort of work below that higher level of conflict.
Right, but in some ways that makes sense, because you want to invest in that higher level stuff to deter that really bad World War III thing from ever happening.
Exactly right. So if we don't figure out all those big defenses, we may have like a defense of the homeland problem, which this country has not had to think about for a long time, and I don't think we'll have to think about for a long time either. But then when you go expeditionary, how do you maintain success?
If I could briefly throw in there, the two are not mutually exclusive
That's
either.
right.
When you start with the Predators, the drone that everybody knows about, on the one hand, it went up bigger, meaning larger Predators, like the Global Hawk is a great example of that. It can actually drop bombs, big bombs. It has a tremendous loiter time. It goes way up in the atmosphere. Okay, so it went high end. But on the lower end, in the hands of soldiers at the corporal level, at the lower tactical level, we have hand-thrown drones that are meant for visual surveillance, for example, reconnaissance. There is a point here where this is being weaponized as well, because the trend towards miniaturization, we're not talking nano stuff here, we're talking in stuff that you could touch and feel and use, where these miniature drones, particularly, it's on the internet, it's called the LMAMS, Lightweight Miniature Aerial Munition System, the LMAMS. The drone itself is a weapon, which sounds scary. If you think that it's controlled by itself or some robot or a computer program, it's not. The purpose of this thing is essentially, to put it in soldier terms, it's a replacement for a mortar tube. A mortar tube, if you're aware of it, you drop a dumb bomb down a tube and it shoots out and it hits what it's going to hit. Once it's shot, that's it. Well, these LMAMs, for example, are designed to be waved off at the last minute. So if there's a little child comes running out, you just do the kill, meaning you shut down the system.
The good kill switch.
The good kill switch.
Yeah, not the bad kill
one.
switch. Right.
You shut down the system so it's inert.
Yeah.
You could wave it off, you fly it around, and very importantly, it's in the hands of the people who most need it. So do they have to call in a plane with a 500-pound bomb? No. Basically, this thing's a flying shotgun shell. Very, very precise in what it's going to be able to do. So my point in this is, as we started with this thing called Predator, sure, we went up, and there's a state-on-state piece of that, but when you talk the ultra-tactical level in the middle of nowhere or in a city, where you have to be very precise because of concerns about civilian casualties and everything else associated with it, you've got that too. So the technological piece enhances both.
Yeah, I totally agree. And thinking about the ethics of this gets very interesting as well, because it does sound scary. It's like, so you have a micro robot that can blow people up. It's like a kamikaze. That sounds terrible. At the same time, it's far more precise. There are all of these benefits. So weighing these things out is very challenging to do, especially in a charged environment. So we need to find better ways of having those conversations, because often it doesn't move forward.
Yeah, think of the conversation we had here 2 weeks ago in this very room on rules of engagement. Excellent discussion, by the way. It started with the idea that discussions of this type began with landmines, the dumbest of dumb things that are planted in the middle of nowhere, and they blow children's legs off or cows' legs off, and maybe once in a while your enemy. But the people who truly suffer from that are civilians, overwhelmingly, throughout the world. And so we went from a completely dumb system that's extraordinarily dangerous, and by the way, moves in the ground. If you don't know that, you lay out a minefield, and then the muds happen and various changes. So you might not have the same field. So we're moving to the polar opposite side of this, to extraordinary precision with human in the loop. Yep. It's just down to the lowest level, where the person who's actually involved in the fight can be involved in this. So I think that's really worth noting, and I don't hear much talk about that.